So I decided that the old dishwasher was getting kind of tired, and I figured, why not just get a new one? So I did. You know, the original dishwasher to this house was installed in 1984, and to save space, the designer, architect, whatever, builder of these condos decided to use, you know, smaller appliances. Like that's a 24-inch stove, and they used an 18-inch dishwasher. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's a one-bedroom condo, so they figured, why put anything bigger? Well, anyway, so yeah, I'm going to continue with using the more compact appliances that were originally chosen for this wonderful home, just because I don't have to reconfigure the kitchen that way. But anyway, there's a price to be paid for that, though. Oh boy. So anyway, when my original dishwasher rusted out and started leaking about 5 years ago, I really didn't have the money to go out and buy a new one because, you know, let's face it, I have better things to spend $600 on than a damn dishwasher. So I didn't buy a dishwasher. Anyway, what I did instead is I went over to Craigslist, and I gotta tell you, these 18-inch models are very, very hard to find used. They're crazy hard to find. And I ended up finding a used one for $20. And that dishwasher served me quite well. 5 years of trouble-free service. So unfortunately, this unit cost me more than the $20 I paid for my older dishwasher. But I did find that it was available under a variety of different brand names. This exact same machine is sold under a multitude of names, including GE, Whirlpool, Kenmore, Frigidaire, Sunpin, Haier, Avanti, and I think there's one I'm not thinking of right now, but it seems like every manufacturer is using this one particular unit as their de facto 18-inch model because it doesn't make sense to build this thing in-house when it's such a not a very common seller. And depending on which brand name you choose and which version you get, you can get this unit for as low as $350 or as high as around $800. I know the Frigidaire sells for around $689 for this exact unit. There are the lesser expensive ones will have a mechanical timer rather than digital controls or electronic controls. And there is a version of this dishwasher, I think Haier sells it, and it has an automatic soap dispenser. For whatever reason, the Kenmore and Frigidaire ones do not have that. Now, my dishwasher is identical to the Frigidaire. Kenmore and the Frigidaire are exactly the same. But the GE, which has a higher retail price, it might even be pushing $900. It has top controls. They're mounted on the top edge of the door, and that can lead to reliability issues as they can also become damaged with steam exposure over time. But this is a fairly well-regarded unit. I've looked at different reviews from different manufacturers. One of the things I like about it is the insulation, as I'm pointing out right now. It has fairly decent sound deadening glued directly to the entire stainless steel tub, as well as a nice thick composite foam blanket surrounding the top and sides. The wooden sticks that are included in the box, you could actually use those to build up a mounting surface under your cabinet, but I already had done that on mine, so I didn't have to do that at all. But let's continue with the unboxing, and we're going to prepare the new dishwasher for its home, and vice versa. Alright, now we're going to open up the front of the dishwasher and take a look at how everything is packed in there. Inside this dishwasher, we're going to find ownership manuals, some packing material, and possibly some other goodies. Let's take a look. We've got the energy guide hanging there. We're checking the tub for rigidity. I'm going to be in the original audio of this, I'm commenting on the LG that I saw at the one of the local hardware stores for sale, a $1,000 dishwasher, and if you shook the cabinet, the entire thing would twist and bend, and it was so cheaply built. This thing appears to be pretty damn rugged when compared to that $1,000 LG that I saw. One of the great things about dishwashers is that they weigh nothing. In terms of built-in appliances, dishwashers are probably the lightest appliances you can buy. I mean, you can just lift them right up like they weigh nothing. In fact, when I was loading it into my car, I could not believe how light it was. I mean, probably only weighs about 75 pounds, maybe less. No, probably about 75 pounds. Okay, so we have to lay it on its back. And let's take a look underneath here. So it looks like the motor on this one is mounted sideways rather than the way they are traditionally mounted, which is vertically. And I see a lot of points of failure here, potential points of failure, which is a little discomforting, but you know, it is what it is. A lot of rubber here that's probably going to age and crack and leak. These are all things that are not in my old dishwasher, because that was made in 1994. And they believed in appliances lasting forever. So you're probably still wondering, why the hell did you replace a perfectly good running dishwasher? Well, why not? Why not? This is one of those things I've been wanting to do for a while, and I figured, what the hell? Let's give it a shot. So I'm going to use the drain hose that came with it because, well, it couldn't hurt. Although I think my drain hose is a little bit nicer. But one of the problems with my drain hose is that it doesn't take kinks very well. It doesn't take the bends very well, and there's a nice sharp bend here. So obviously that's going to be a problem. If I were to use my hose, it would just kink. I don't have a strain relief or an elbow for it. So I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to just use what it came with. So, yeah, the pump is down here. And it's made in China. Yeah, it's totally made in China. The original one was made, or the old one was made in the US. But again, as things go, you know. Let's take the toe kick off. Okay, one of the first things I need to do is install this elbow that came with my water supply line kit, which I bought separately. Put a few wraps of Teflon tape on that, get it nice and tight. Get a bigger than 5/8 wrench. Awesome. Now we're going to run the drain hose. Now I do not have, in this house, I do not have an air trap. Or an air gap, whatever the hell they call them. Okay, so what we've got to do, I've already checked that the drain line it'll fit just fine. I am concerned about its longevity, but, you know. This is probably the one time I've installed an appliance that was of inferior grade to what came out. I'll probably get 5 years out of it, maybe. But we'll see what happens. I mean, you know, I did get 5 years out of the one I paid 20 bucks for on Craigslist. I just could not find one in my area that was in good condition, you know, used. So, anyway, I got the drain line routed through its hole, and what I want to do now is I want to get the thing leveled, and I can level it where it's standing because it's a concrete floor, so it's pretty level anyway. But I got to get it adjusted to the right counter height. So I've got to lower those down a little bit, and so we got to get the counter height, or get the unit's height set up correctly. Then we can work on getting it hooked up to utilities. So this will go pretty smoothly, I'm sure. Once we have the front end jacked up correctly to the right height, we're going to pull it out, and then we're going to set the rears. Then we're going to get a torpedo level, and we're going to set the machine up to its perfect level height. And so, yeah, it'll be perfectly level when we're done. So let's pull it out. This It's not on wheels. The hard plastic levelers are actually able to glide nicely over my freshly waxed floor, so it'll be pretty cool to get this all done. All right, so let me get the torpedo level, and we'll get it all set up. Okay, the instructions want me to level it from inside the dishwasher basin. Now, obviously, it's not going to stick so well because it's stainless steel. But this is what threw me off. I could stick it to the side of the dishwasher, or to the inside of the dishwasher, because there's a ferrous steel bracket on either side. So, yeah, okay. Well, we're going to level it this way, as well as this way. So, I've got to, actually that kind of works, I've done it. So it's got to come up in the front, or down in the back, just a little bit. Now that we're good and level, we're going to get our utilities accessible, which means that water line has to come forward, and that electrical line also has to somehow come forward. So I've got to get down in there and get them. So I'm going to pull it out again, but now that it's level, we can see how it looks height-wise, and I'm not really pleased with the height yet. I think I'm going to go up a little more with it. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Now, the countertop isn't perfect. It kind of bows up a little bit, which is something that has happened from the old dishwasher, but you don't really notice it until you're on it like that. But I think what happened was the dishwasher heat and steam has kind of warped it a little bit. But with it shoved in there a little bit more, it could definitely stand to go up a little bit. And I'm going to try to, there's really not much I can do for that countertop. It's just, that's how the original one was when I moved in. But I'm going to bring it up a little more. I think that'll be okay. So I've got the drain line already in where it needs to go. I'll get the water line connected up. Can you see it? Yeah, not really. Good thing these things are light, because I'm having a hell of a time here. The original dishwasher in this house was plumbed with hard copper. Ew. I mean, yeah, it's great if you never have to move your dishwasher for any reason. But hard copper, it can fatigue fail on an appliance that sometimes has to be moved out of the way for whatever reason. Be it, you know, a minor repair or annual servicing. So, I just don't like hard copper. That's why I didn't use hard copper when I put in my fridge, because of the inherent weaknesses of a hard plumbed line. So, you know, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I'm not a plumber. Before we mount it in for real, we want to make sure that the door stays open. Like that. We don't want it snapping shut on us. The spring tension is adjustable, and it's a fairly easy adjustment when the dishwasher is removable. But once it's mounted in place, obviously, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Okay, I got the drain hooked up to the fitting over there. See, and I did that preemptively just in case. I don't know, I forget. We're also going to just check in here for leaks while we're here. Just going to feel around that line, make sure there's no dripping, make sure the valve isn't leaking. Looks like it might have been, so I got to look at that for a minute. Okay, let's see what we got done here. Hey, I got it. Once it was pushed all the way in correctly, I got it. So, the kick panel is going to go on after we test everything out. And I know this sucker runs without leaking. I'm going to run a light wash in it, and that'll just prove that it works and doesn't leak. because even a brand new appliance can leak. We all know how wonderful China is. So yeah, still don't have any leaks from the main water inlet, so looks like that Rector seal did a good job of that. And let's fire it up. Again. Ooh, here we go. Aw, it's got an alarm on it. Oh, that sucks. I wonder if there's something I can turn off. Alright, so what do you do when you turn it on? Well, we got to remove the protective coating. There we go. What are the instructions going to tell me to do? Alright, at this point it's been installed for about 3 days. Still no leaks, and the unit runs very well, in fact. Very quietly. I'm going to demonstrate it now, and we're going to go over a couple of its features. I've read the manual, I get how it works now, so I think I'm okay. So let's first open it up. And one of the things I like about this unit is it does actually have a surprisingly durable feel to it. It doesn't feel like some of the more expensive appliances, which I gotta say feel kind of chintzy. There was an LG that I was looking at. It was a full-size dishwasher, a 24-inch. It was on sale for $1,000, and I opened the door. It was actually sitting on the floor as a display unit. I'm opening the door up, and as I open the door, the entire shell just starts flopping around. If you've ever seen the SNL sketch, it was a parody of Apple called the iRack. It was made during the Iraq war conflict, and the whole controversy surrounding the U.S.'s exit strategy. Watch the Iraq sketch. You'll find it on YouTube, and you'll see what I mean. That's what the damn thing felt like. It also had all plastic structural supports underneath, and it was $1,000. This one you can buy for as low, as I mentioned earlier, as low as $350 for the Sunpin version, which has, I believe, mechanical controls. Surprisingly, this thing appears fairly well built. I did identify a couple of possible, service issues later on in the dishwasher's life, but it's really too easy to tell, or too early to tell. A couple of things I want to talk about first. Now, my old dishwasher didn't have any way to separate water from chicken bones and seeds and whatever else might wind up in a dishwasher. Foreign objects, broken glass. So, one of the things that contributed to its failure was the fact that I had a glass break in the dishwasher, and all the shards got into the pump and started grinding the hell out of the pump housing. Now, this dishwasher has a few safeguards in place that I didn't have with the old one. Number one, let me get my I'll get this flashlight on there so you can actually see the interior better. Let's see if we can find a place for it to stick. Well, if you look down in there, you're going to see a mesh, not a mesh, but an expanded metal strainer. That screen thing that you see. We're going to take that out and have a better look at it. But it has that, but it also has a fine mesh filter to trap any other foreign objects. So we're going to take this out by twisting this off. This will filter out large particles. And oh, it actually tells you what the formula is. It's PP plus 30% glass fiber. Pretty cool. Now this thing comes out. This is your filter strainer thing. Well, this is one of your many safeguards. This is going to basically trap and prevent any foreign particles from getting into the circulatory system. And we have this wire mesh filter. This is already trapped particles. It's got stuff already stuck in it from the few cycles that I've run through it. And you just take it and rinse it off when it gets dirty and put it back in again. Didn't have that before. Again, that's what contributed to some of the major problems that I had with the other dishwasher. It was basically 1 foot in the grave by the time I took it out. It still runs, but not long for this world. So let's take a look inside there. Now that, I believe, is the sump. And what's this? Oh, it must be like a jet for something, I don't know. But yeah, now if things get through that and wind up in the in the sprayer bar, you just simply lift it out. It's clipped in, and you can take this off. I think this just twists off. No? Maybe it does. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it. But you can basically clean out whatever's in here. Just shake it around. And I actually found a rock in my old dishwasher. Believe it or not, I found a stone inside here. Like, really? How does that happen? Anyway. And it all goes right back together pretty easily. Oops. I'm going to put that strainer back in there first. Just like so. I'm already very pleased with this unit. Not only is it smartly designed, but it's quiet as hell. And I'm not really sure what company really designed this thing, but I first noticed this dishwasher as a Frigidaire, and I'm not sure if that's who really was involved in designing it, but it's hard to tell sometimes with modern appliances because everybody owns everybody, and ownership changes constantly. So, and then when patents expire, other companies will start using them if it's a valid design feature. The silverware basket includes these little covers. And what they want you to do is use these covers, which snap onto the basket, to hold all your silverware. And you're supposed to put everything in handle down, and I don't do that. I personally would rather just wash everything the way I just in a very helter-skelter fashion. That's just how I do things. So, and this basket, it looks like it splits apart. Oh, come on now. Alright, I'll just put it there. Being a pain in the ass. Okay, so there's that. This is your typical silverware basket. Just drops right in there. You can take it out if you want to. One of the features I liked about this dishwasher, and this seems to be, again, everybody's using the same design now, so it doesn't matter what I buy, but it has an upper spray arm that I didn't have before. So for years, I've been washing dishes in my dishwasher, and the top rack, sometimes things don't rinse very well, because sometimes a plate will fall over and block the spray path for the lower spray arm, and nothing gets washed up at top. And, well, check this out. We've got another spray arm up here. Let's roll that basket in. So here's our upper spray arm. And if it ever gets clogged up with objects, you just simply pop it off like that. Pretty cool. The wire baskets are made of simple coated steel. And yes, eventually the coating will crack and will rust. That's what happened to my first dishwasher. A couple of tines actually rusted off. And by that point, it wasn't even worth fixing because I was getting dishes that were washing. I had dishes that had iron oxide stains on them from the upper dish rack and the lower dish rack respectively. So that will happen with any dishwasher, and you know, if you ever nick one of these wire racks, the best thing to do is just get some touch-up paint and immediately fix it before it becomes a bigger problem. They actually sell a special paint you can apply to your dishwasher racks. Now the soap dispenser is identical to the one in my 1994 Frigidaire that I'm getting rid of, and so that kind of leads me to believe that this does have some legitimate Frigidaire roots. In fact, the jet dry container lid on this dishwasher fits the old one, and vice versa. I've already checked. So it's, and that design has not changed in 25 plus years. So it's possible that this could be, it may have been a Frigidaire product first, and then it was adapted for widespread distribution. It's hard to say. But as you can see, the interior of this dishwasher is bright, shiny stainless steel, and let's hope it stays that way. I like the rubber seal in this. It's a real nice rubber seal. My old dishwasher had more of a foam seal, and it wasn't leaking yet, but so it had held up quite well. So we'll see what happens. Now let's go ahead and load up some detergent. Now this kind of threw me at first. I was kind of confused because I have two different dispenser pods here, and the manual says that one of them is a pre-wash and one of them is a secondary wash. Now the problem with that is they're both sealed, so I'm not entirely positive, and I looked at the owner's manual and it wasn't really clear to me what's what here. So then I happen to notice that on the top of the lid, it has another dishwasher detergent pocket, and I believe that is my pre-wash pocket. So we're going to put some pre-wash soap in there, just a little bit. Now if we look at the old dishwasher, we'll see that the design is fairly similar. So this is the old Frigidaire. This is the 1994 model. And this one was made by White Consolidated Appliances. I think this was before the ownership of Electrolux took over. But you can see that this seal is pretty damn knackered. In fact, it looks like it might it might be pretty damn close to leaking, but it doesn't leak yet. But take a look at this one. Now you've got your main wash in here, and then you've got your, that's the lid, and then you've got your pre-wash over here. So I think what they did is they basically just modify the lid so that it can become the pre-wash cup. I don't know. Notice how these old ones had plastic tubs. Now plastic tubs were a big improvement over the steel tubs of yesterday, because the plastic tubs don't rust and they don't corrode. So it seems like a good idea. Actually, it kind of was. I don't know why they went to stainless steel. Maybe for weight savings, who knows. I do know that stainless steel is very much more recyclable than the plastic tubs of years gone by. So in fact, I looked at every dishwasher I think in the store when I went to go pick this up. I picked it up at Sears. Obviously it's a Kenmore. And I looked at all the dishwashers and they were all pretty much stainless steel. In fact, I don't think I saw one plastic one. And I think manufacturers are really doing that because, again, I mean, stainless steel and other metals can be recycled fairly easily, but plastic, not so much. So there's a lot less plastic in this unit than the older ones were made from. One other thing I want to point out is the rail design hasn't really changed much in 30 years. Obviously the rails are thinner now, and that's to reduce manufacturing cost. Probably one potential failure point. Who knows? We'll see what happens. My parents' dishwasher is over 20-some years old, and it has broken wheels in the racks, but they still use it. So let's go ahead and close it up. So we have about 6 cycle options: pots and pans, normal wash, light wash, China, gentle, eco, or quick rinse. The light wash takes approximately 65 minutes to run. The normal wash, I'm not entirely sure, but there's an entire chart of wash times in the owner's manual if you're that interested to see it. This does not have a fan dry option. The air dry feature is a complete misnomer. It doesn't mean that it forces air through the unit, and that's what I thought it did. And when I bought it, that's one of the reasons I bought this one. But I did my research later on after finding out that the air dry option just turns the heating element off. That's all it does. So I found out later on that there really aren't many 18-inch dishwashers that have that feature in my price range. So why don't we go ahead and run a, I'm going to do a light wash air dry. So we're going to do that. Light wash, air dry. High temp wash will just turn on the heating element when the basin is filled, and it heats up the water beyond whatever it is currently set at. I think it's 130 some degrees. And there's also a delay start option. I can start it in 2 hours. or 4. There's also a door lock feature. So if I hold down the air dry button, the door locks. So a toddler can't just walk up and open the door. Now when you hear how quiet this thing is, you'll understand what I mean. My old dishwasher sounded like a cement mixer, and it was kind of hard to watch a movie with the dishwasher running because it was so goddamn loud, and it was terrible. And that was without glass in the sump or in the pump housing. So yeah, imagine that, right? So let's go ahead and hit the start button. The first thing a dishwasher will do is it'll run the drain cycle to remove any water that is spilled into it or might still be in the unit. And it'll do that for a couple minutes, or seconds. One of the things I noticed on this dishwasher versus the old one is that the drain cycle on this thing is much less violent than the old one. When the drain cycle kicked in on the old dishwasher, water would actually splash out of the drain. It would start like shooting up drops of water, which is kind of a problem in my opinion. So now it's in its fill cycle. Even the fill cycle is quieter. This one, when it runs the drain cycle, it's so gentle and so quiet that you don't even notice it. You don't hear water rushing out the drain. It's very relaxing, in fact. As a matter of fact, this unit uses far less water than the old one did. The drain pan is much shallower, so it fills faster. And here it runs. This is the wash cycle. It's much quieter and gentler sounding than the old one ever was. Now, one of the things I want to point out is that if you ever decide to stop a cycle, it will automatically, in fact, I'm going to do it now. We're going to hit the start button again, which it means cancel. And it immediately engages a drain cycle. That way when you open the door, it's not full of water. It's pretty smart. The other thing I want to point out is that even the digital controls model, if you open the door mid-cycle and you close it, it continues on whatever step it was on before. It does not restart the cycle. I verified that when it was doing a drain cycle. And it just continued right on, not drain, but a dry cycle. It continued on drying. So yes, I'm very happy with this unit. It has definitely, if it's done nothing else, it showed me that some of the newer appliances, even though they're not as well built as the old ones were, some of them do have merit, and they do actually a decent, half-decent job at doing what they're intended to do. I know that there's a lot of resentment in the appliance-loving community on modern appliances, and it's well-deserved. That $1,000 LG, I can already tell, is probably going to fall apart in 5 years. But this one, I think I might get 10 years out of it. Let's put it this way. This fridge is already 10 years old, and it still runs. Granted, I've had to make some repairs to it, but hey, nobody's perfect, right? So, yeah, it actually took all the soap that was in there. So I got to put more soap in here. And I'm going to just continue washing the couple of dishes that are in here. I don't need to, but I'm gonna, just because I can. And I've got a glass that I'm gonna throw in there too. Just put that in there. So anyway, loving this new dishwasher. And if you happen to be in the market for an 18-inch model, doesn't matter what you buy, they're all built by the same damn company, and who knows what company that is, whether it's, I don't know. But GE, Frigidaire, Kenmore, Haier, Sunpin, they're all the same. Whirlpool, they're the same damn unit, especially the 18-inch models. So let's just continue this one on because it's already canceled that entire wash cycle, so let's restart it. Thank you for watching, and keep on washing those dishes. I gotta come up with a better tagline. Let's see. Keep on keeping on. I've used that. Just keep on trucking. Well, we're not dealing with trucks. I give up.